All right, welcome to the show today. This is Clinton Young, international keynote speaker and coach for aspiring world-class speakers. And I've got one of my friends on the line today, on the video today, all the way from Wales in the UK. And this guy is a powerhouse networker. He was Networker of the Year, I believe, in 2018. He's a badass speaker and a coach and a mentor, and he's a podcaster. This guy does like 8 podcasts a day. He's crazy. Let's check him out here in a second here. He puts out content like a beast is what I'm trying to say. So Mike Armstrong, welcome to the show today, my friend. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome as always because I'm getting to live my best life.
Nice. Did I build you up enough here? I know I stumbled a little there, but I know you're a badass networker. Tell us about the award you got. Was I right when I said that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm an award-winning world-class networker, as you're a world-class speaker and a speaker coach. And,
Yes,
and I won an award in Wales, which isn't necessarily seen as the capital of the world, but I was the best networker in the biggest network in Wales, and actually Wales, we punch above our weight on the world stage. We've won a lot of rugby tournaments, which the guys stateside I don't understand, but it's a bit like American football, but without the pads. And we just had a world champion dart player, so we're pretty good at pub sports. In fact, we're great at all pub sports because we like a good drink and a good swim. I've taken my platform of in Wales is as networker, and I started networking around the UK for sort of like 2019 and early 2020. Since the pandemic, I've been networking around the world and getting people on my podcast, because you said I'm pretty prolific at getting guests on my podcast, where we met and where I got to find out about your world-class speaking skills and coaching courses, etc. So I really enjoyed getting you on the podcast.
Awesome, Mike. Awesome. I'm gonna bring you back here. So, by the way, there's a little bit of an echo on your side. When I'm talking, I hear myself talk. I don't hear it now all of a sudden. I don't know if you just did something different, but either way, it worked itself out. So there it is. It just came back. It's all good. The beauty of live shows. So real quick, before we jump into what we're going to talk about, because today, if you're just joining us, I've got one of my friends from the UK on, Mr. Mike Armstrong, and he is a badass networker. He's a world-class networker, and we're talking about ideas that we can bring more value to the world stage from a speaking and networking perspective. So how do we become world-class speakers? And then how do we actually get out on world-class stages? And how do we just speak in the world outside of our own country, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that in a couple minutes. We've got some great resources to share with all of you. And I want to also ask Mike to give away his strategy in a moment about how he is becoming known all around the world. He's got a podcast. If you don't know about it, you're about to know about it. He just mentioned it a moment ago. We'll pop up a link. In fact, why don't we do that right now? If you want to learn about Mike's podcast, you can go to anchor.fm/Mike-Armstrong9, or just do what Mike's about to share with you right now so that you can find him on the web. So, Mike, how do people rise above this sea of white noise out there? What's one simple strategy that you shared with me this morning that you've been using?
Yeah, well, basically, I tag all of my content, whether it be audio, video, or text, and whether it be on the website or on a podcast or on a YouTube channel. I tag it with a hashtag. Mike Armstrong is my hashtag, but if that one was already popular and being used by someone else, I would have picked something different. But I was lucky to get my name, and I put that on everything I do, which means then I can actually tell people to search for the hashtag Mike Armstrong, and they can find my content all around social media, all around the web. I haven't got to give them phone numbers. I haven't got to give them URLs. I haven't got to tell them 55,000 links of where they can find my content. I give them one bit of information. They can go and use the search engines, and they're going to find everything they want to know about me. A whole lot more.
That's great. That's great, Mike. And that's such a great strategy. If you're just joining us, again, I'm with Mike Armstrong from Wales over in the UK. Obviously, I'm here in the US. Maybe that's not obvious depending on where you're tuning in from. But Mike's just sharing one of his main strategies, real simple strategy, but not a lot of people are doing this, where he's using his own name as a hashtag in everything that he does so that he dominates the web for that keyword. And most importantly, if Mike's out speaking on any stage, whether it's on video like he's doing right now and sharing right now, or whether he's on a 1,000-person stage at an intro biz event over in the UK, he can simply say, everybody look for hashtag Mike Armstrong on the internet, and he's going to dominate that. Everything's going to show up. All of his stuff is going to show up. And you find this, Mike, I've actually seen this. The reason why I know this is a world-class strategy for networking is I've actually seen some massive companies and some really, really thought-leading smaller companies using this strategy at their events, right? Think about it. You have an event, and your event's called World-Class Speaker Domination. I don't know. We're making this up here. World-Class Speaker Ignite. That's actually a good name. And we say, hey, you know what? For the rest of the day and the rest of the week, and even you can do this even before the event, go online and do hashtag world-class speaker, world-class speaker ignite event or whatever, something small, obviously. That's a little bit too long. And now we're building up all that traffic. And then before, during, and after that event, we can say, hey, if you want to be able to access that content, just pop in that hashtag, and you're going to be able to find all that content inside of whatever social media platform you're on, or maybe even inside the web if it's not a heavily trafficked hashtag, if that makes sense. Is that the same parallel thinking there, Mike?
Yes, definitely. It's not only is it easy to find, but it's stores forever pretty much in the web and in social media, etc. So like I work with Introbiz, which is a global networking and events company. If you have a look at hashtag Introbiz or hashtag Introbiz Expo, and you're interested in maybe attending Introbiz events this year or going to an expo, or we created a new hashtag recently, hashtag Introbiz Global Summit, that you're interested in getting involved in the global summits this year, you can go through the internet or through social media, and you can look at what hashtags were previously used and what years, etc. And you can get a historical reference point for what the event was like, who spoke on it, how engaged it was, and all those sort of things.
Yeah.
So it's like an analytical tool as well for you to do some research.
Totally. Yeah. Great strategy, Mike. Is this the right website here that I just put on screen? Introbiz.co.uk. Yeah. So, if you're a student, like Mike's gone through my program, world-class speaker, Ignite, and, I've got several other students around the world that have gone through it. And once you're moving towards becoming a world-class speaker and you want to start speaking a lot more, you want to become an international speaker, right? Quote unquote, international speaker. Well, it's not that hard to do when you have the right resources and when you have the right ideas. Obviously, in my program, I share a lot of ideas on how you can get on stages around the world. Well, one of the ways is know someone like Mike, right? Know someone that has a podcast. I'm going to pop your podcast up here again. Check out Mike's podcast at anchor.fm/Mike-Armstrong9. He's always looking for awesome guests, right? So if you're an entrepreneur that's really switched on and really, really gets it, trying to become the best version of yourself, you're making an impact in the world, and you've got right? That's powerful, that's impactful. Mike, share with us a little bit more. Am I on the right vein there of the types of guests that you bring on your podcast? I know I've been on your podcast and it was a wonderful experience. So tell the listeners here, any speaker out there that wants to become global, how they can get in touch with you and learn about your podcast, and who are the types of speakers you bring on and entrepreneurs you bring on.
Yeah, well, I tend to work with ambitious entrepreneurs, like you say, people who want to go global. Your local sort of business person or your local small-time entrepreneur who's maybe thinking about going national. That's fair enough. They're ambitious in their own way, but I tend to work with the ones who are really ambitious, people who want global domination. And those sort of people are the people that I resonate with, because I'm one of those people myself. Introbiz, where I work and do the global network and events, are like that too. And people, birds of a feather flock together, and we're all sorts of, 10%ers wanting to be 1%ers. If people don't know what that is, that out in, any sort of entrepreneurs speak or books or whatever. And what you realize is, generally in most industry sectors, there's 90% of the people not really doing that well and not really making that much money. They may be comfortable, but that's about it. And then there's 10% who are rocking it. There's 10% who are really making the money, and then in that 10%, there's 1%. Yeah, that are the super billionaires and the super successful. And I would say I speak to the layer that is below that super successful layer that are looking to be in that layer. They're ambitious people. They want to connect globally with people. They want to network globally with people. It doesn't really matter what industry they're in or what sector they're in. They just know that they want to excel in that sector and they want to be the best in that sector. And as you know, world-class speaking is not just about your oral ability. It's about what connections you've got. It's about where you can get yourself. And that's all about networking.
Totally. Let's talk a little bit more about that, Mike. Again, I'm getting that echo again. I'm not quite sure why. I know you're not in your home environment where you normally do your podcast, but that's cool. It's gone. It went away again. So I know there's a couple of opportunities to get more connected over in the UK for any of our speakers that aren't in the UK, or even if you are in the UK, you want to get connected with Mike as well. He has three main opportunities. The first opportunity is he has these guest weekly networking events. Now, they're not ideally timed for people in the US. I will say that right out of the gate, but there are opportunities to learn more about that. And they're always growing. They're always expanding their offerings at IntroBiz. I know, Mike, you're like the director of something. I know you deal with all the speakers, you bring the speakers on board and all that. You can tell us your title in a sec here, but ultimately he's got these networking events on Fridays. Mike, why don't you share really briefly about that? And then I'll introduce the second and then the third option, but just tell us a little bit about that first.
Yeah, well, I'm a sales and marketing director at IntroBiz. So, I head up the sales and marketing, but I'm also a speaker booking agent as well. So I deal with the people who are interested in speaker opportunities. And the networking events aren't ideal for America. They're 9 till 11 in UK time. So they're good for people in Europe and South Africa and Australia and around the world, really, but not North America.
Got it. And I've got listeners from all around. We've got a lot of listeners in Australia, so this would be great for you if you're down in Australia. Also in South Africa too. A lot of our students have come through South Africa, so definitely check out his weekly networking events. And you said you guys are thinking about doing more events that might work better for US time. So we'll keep you posted on those. You can always go to introbiz.co.uk and find out more if you want to be that global speaker and expand your brand. Now, number two, you kind of alluded to when you talked about your title. You do a lot of the booking for speakers like Les Brown and Sharon Lechter, and then some other lesser known names of entrepreneurs here in the US, even a lot of them that want to grow their business in the UK and they want to access networks like IntroBiz. So tell us about your global summits and when those are going to be for our speakers that maybe want to expand their brand and go global.
Yeah, well, we just done our first global summit in November. It was a 3-day summit from the 25th to the 27th. And we had 30 speakers, a lot of them from the US. But a lot from around the world as well. And we had like Sharon Lechter and Les Brown and Dr. Don Martini and Brian Tracy and Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank and loads of people really. But we give the opportunity for some lesser-known speakers to share an event and share the speaking opportunity with some of those big names. Nice. And we've got... that was driven through the pandemic, because we used to do real world expos, business expos in our local area in the UK. But obviously we couldn't do those in the pandemic, so we switched to online and global. And we got 3 events lined up for this year, one in March, one in July, and one in October. And we're looking for people who want to reach out to our established UK and growing globally community, so that they can actually, put themselves in front of more faces, more people who can actually help to open doors for them to get them leveraging into even more bigger speaking opportunities, as well as further business opportunities and partnerships.
Nice. One of the things I teach my students all the time is when you speak, business happens, right? When you speak, business happens. When you speak, you speak. So speaking begets more speaking. So when you get connected in with a network like IntroBiz, that Mike is the sales and marketing director. He's also the head booking agent for all the speakers that come in to speak at those global events. And I know they've got a massive list of entrepreneurs all across not only the UK, but of course it's growing globally as well, like you said. So it's a great way to get connected with not just any old entrepreneurs. From what I've heard, IntroBiz is kind of like the Audi or the Mercedes, if you will, of networking platforms over in the UK. Is that correct, Mike?
That's definitely it. Yeah, we're head and shoulders above the traditional networking agencies, who tend to have sort of small SME, small to medium-sized enterprise members. We have some of those in our network as well, but they tend to be ambitious consultants and, not like plumbers and tradespeople. They're not like those sort of people. They tend to be bigger business minds,
Yeah, not there's anything wrong with those folks, but it's just not the target market that IntroBiz targets. They connect with those kind of switched on coaches, professionals, consultants, people like that, speakers. There's a lot of different types, but those are just a couple of examples. The ones that I would probably attract inside of my network to refer over to you would fit into those categories as well. So that's why we're sharing these resources with you. If you are a speaker, a world-class speaker, obviously you want to also get connected in with me. If you're not connected in, you want to become part of the Speaker Posse. I just put it on the screen, speakerposse.com. That is a free Facebook group. This is streaming inside of Speaker Posse. Some of you who are already members are already seeing this, but obviously this is also going out to YouTube and going out to my Facebook page. So if you're not part of the Speaker Posse, make sure to join my free Facebook group at speakerposse.com. And at the very end, I'm going to share with you a very special gift from me, and also a resource that's going to help you become a world-class speaker. So hang on for a little bit for that. We're here. If you're just joining us, I know a couple people are popping in, popping out. We've got my friend here from the UK, from Wales. His name is Mike Armstrong. He is a master networker. This guy has met Grant Cardone. He's been on stage with him, and he was the networker of the year a couple years back over in Wales, and he's uber connected. So if you want to take your world-class speaking skills that you get through me, and you want to help grow your brand and your image and your platform overseas, Mike's a great guy to know. We already talked about his podcast. I know I'm putting a lot of things on screen here for you. I just want to make sure that you're getting access to all these and you're writing these down. Okay, so let's talk about that. Speaking of your podcast, that's the third opportunity that my world-class speaker following can get clued in and connected to someone overseas and instantly you can become an international speaker, even if you're doing it on Zoom. If you're doing it on YouTube, if you're doing it on a podcast, you're still speaking to an international audience. Now, of course, it's not quite the same thing, but it's a good first step, right? So who wouldn't, as a speaker in the US or South Africa or Asia or wherever, Australia, wherever you're coming in from, who wouldn't want to be on a podcast in another country? I mean, hello, of course we would, right? So how do we do that, Mike? Talk to us a little bit about your podcast. Who do you have on? What's a great guest? Tell us about that. And how can they get in touch?
Well, I love entrepreneurs and I love ambitious entrepreneurs. They're the ones we tend to work with. So anyone who's got an interesting story, a life mission that they're on, or something they're trying to do to make a difference in the world, or just someone who's really ambitious, looking to grow their business or grow their profile, or become really valuable to the planet and not just to their locality. They're the sort of people I want to get on my podcast. And they're people who I want them to inspire, my audience, my listeners, etc. I also want them to educate them. I myself try and spend my life inspiring and educating people with what I've learned so far. I think it's great to give back to society when you have done well in life, when you have achieved, when you've got some skill sets that maybe other people are lacking. And so I'm looking for similar like-minded people who are happy to come on, have a chat with me about, what it is they've learned in life, what it is that they can give and help share to others. And also, just have a lovely chat, get to know them, find out more about them, so I can work out how I can help them more, because I know a lot of people, I know a lot of doors that I can help to open. And if you've got somebody on your side helping to open doors for you, it's a lot easier to get these doors open than trying to push them through yourself.
Absolutely, Mike. And that's actually, we actually met on your podcast, right? I think we found each other somewhere on Facebook in a podcast community, and we struck up a connection. And then all of a sudden I'm on your podcast. And then you became part of my world-class speaker community, part of the speaker posse. You went through my beta program for aspiring world-class speakers. And tell us just really quickly, we weren't really planning on talking about this, but seeing how it's coming up, what was your experience going through my beta program for world-class speakers? What was your experience like going through that?
Well, as well as being a sort of training program, it was sort of a bit like a mastermind, really, because there was a lot of good quality people on the course. So I've got some really good friendships from the event as well, which is, as a networker of world-class ability, I always get good friends whenever I, get into a group of people. There are always like-minded people. And when I first learned, I learned off you, but I also learned off the people that you surrounded us with as well. And then, I learned about getting your sort of story right, your origin story. I learned about how to, structure your speeches and how to keep the audience engaged in your conversations. Some clever world-class tips on how to do that. Yeah. I also learned, the art of the industry, if you like. How to get yourself booked onto the gigs, how to, develop from giving free talks away in different places to actually, getting paid £10,000 a time to speak internationally, which is, or more as the case may be. You worked your way up to 10,000 time a speaking gig, but I'm sure that'll rise as your star continues to rise, as all us speakers want to do. We want to keep building our star. And one of the key things I thought which was good about your course is I'm a sales and marketing specialist. I've been in sales and marketing all my life. And a lot of people who will teach speaking will teach about the oral abilities, if you like, the ability to be able to communicate with people. But to become a world-class anything, it's not just about your talent in that thing, but it's actually about your sales and marketing ability to actually share your talent with as much of the world as possible. And that's how you really, truly become world-class or world, dominant is people got to know about you. There are plenty of speakers better than you, better than, Les Brown, better than Brian Tracy or whatever, but nobody's heard of these guys because they can't sell and market themselves.
Totally. Yeah, they definitely go hand in hand. In order to, what I mean by world class, just so we're on the same page with everybody here, I don't necessarily mean speaking all around the world. I can definitely help somebody do that. If they want to become a global speaker, I can help them do that. But that's not necessarily what I mean by world class. I don't necessarily mean they're going to make 10K per speech, but I can help them do that for sure. And who doesn't want that? Of course, people want that. But what I do mean by world class is how do we uncover that invisible barrier that's blocking us from truly connecting to our audience? And how do we become really, really clear about what that is for us? And how do we become 100% committed at dissolving that barrier so that we can become 100% connected to our audience? And we do that one of three ways, really is three ways. You've got to have the world-class speaker secrets. You've got to have the principles dialed in. You've got to have the repetitions. You've got to get out there and do the work. You can't just become world-class just by learning a few things here and there, but you've got to have the skills. You've got to have them. You've got to have the chops. So world-class speaker secrets. And you'll notice I put it on the screen here. I'm giving away. I'm going to explain what this is in a moment, but I figured I'd pop it up there for longevity's sake here and give it as much airtime as possible. But you also have to have, besides the world-class speaker secrets and the skills, you got to have authenticity and you got to have vulnerability. And if you don't have all three of those, you are not going to be world-class and you're not going to be able to truly speak to the heart and to the soul of your audience. And until then, you will only be a good speaker. Until then, you will only make a pretty good amount of impact, but you won't make that world-class level of impact that you're truly born to make. You have to become world-class. You have to learn how to speak, not from your head, but speak from your heart. You have to learn how to speak directly to the pain of your audience, because until they know that you understand what they're going through, they're not truly going to be turned on in their mind. They're not truly going to receive your message. So in order to make the level of impact that we truly want to make as world-class entrepreneurs and speakers, we've got to become world-class in our abilities and who we be on stage, right? Authenticity, vulnerability, and our world-class speaker skills. So these are the principles, literally, these top 7 world-class speaker secrets. These are the principles that I learned from working with some of the top speakers on the planet and from putting in thousands and thousands of hours of my own on stages. So literally, I'm giving these away for free. You can get them at worldclassspeakersecrets.com. It's super simple. Grab them. Guaranteed your world will be rocked when you go through these. It's a brand new edition of my world-class speaker secrets. I literally just finished it about a month ago, and it's out there for you. And just one of these, just to give you an idea, just one of these, Mike, just one of these secrets, I invested over $5,000 in just to get one of these. And I'm giving all 7 plus a bonus 8 actually away for free. So grab the world-class speaker secrets at worldclassspeakersecrets.com. Last thing I do want to promote, besides my man Mike here, we'll come back to you in a sec. In fact, let's do that first, and then I will share one last way that people can get in touch with me. I'm doing a webinar on January 8th with another contact from the UK. I believe he's in England, and that's going to be all about igniting your impact. Ignite your impact in 2021. How do we go from really wanting to make an impact to actually doing it? Finally seeing how you can stop just thinking about becoming a world-class speaker and actually do it. So you can register for that as well. I don't have a great link for this because I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I'm going to pop it in here. And if you just go to Eventbrite and look up Ignite Your Impact 2021, you can find all about that webinar I'm going to be doing. It's actually a masterclass I'm doing on a brand new platform. What's that platform called, Mike? Remo?
It's called Remo. It's on Remo. Yes, on Remo, and you can find it on Eventbrite is the platform selling the event, and that connection and that event that you're doing comes through the power of networking because. By you being on my podcast, Mark Jarrett's a big networking friend of mine that I met during the lockdown as well. And, that's the power of connections. And Mark's very well connected, same as me. So, that's how networking works. So it's fantastic.
Totally. So I've got the number 1 networker in Wales and the number 1 networker in England on my side, and you can have them on your side as well. So join me it's January 8th. It's this Friday. It's 8:00 in the morning Pacific time, 8 to 9. And it's at Eventbrite. And I'm going to create a banner here while I turn it over to Mike here in a moment. Hold on one second. Let me just get this posted in here. So you can literally, this is going to be a crazy long URL. I'm just putting it up there so that you can see eventbrite.co.uk. If you just Google that and Google Ignite Your Impact, if you don't type in this whole thing, you'll be able to find the event. So check that out. It's this Friday. It's going to be for world-class entrepreneurs that want to become world-class speakers and how to overcome those challenges that are holding you back from doing so. And if you haven't joined the Speaker Posse, remember to join the speakerposse.com. And you can also find out more about me at clintonyoung.com. But I want to end here by sharing just a little bit more about Mike and how you can get in touch with Mike. Mike, what do you want me to put up on the screen here to close us out here? Your podcast or intro biz? In fact, let me just do both.
Oh, no, actually, just the hashtag Mike Armstrong will do. Like I said, the strategy is just hashtag Mike Armstrong. That's how you find me. Yeah, and also I got one more thing which I can give as well, which is another gift for all of your listeners. We do membership-only networking events, but obviously, like I said, 9 o'clock till 11 o'clock on a Friday, we have a networking event, and any of your listeners can come along as a guest of mine. So all they got to do is get in touch with me, find me by looking for hashtag Mike Armstrong, tell me that they listen to us speak on your social media, and they're in, and they're a guest, and they can come and enjoy our wonderful, exciting, passionate, energetic, and enthusiastic events, and believe me, they will enjoy them because they're high energy.
Nice, Mike. Well, if you're involved, I have no doubt that they're high energy. So again, thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us right now, this is Mike Armstrong, number 1 networker in Wales. He's a world-class networker. He's got tremendous resources. So go back, listen to this, like it, share it, comment, put in some questions for either one of us. and look up Mike with hashtag Mike Armstrong. He gave a diamond of a tip there for you to get more and more known online, and a lot of resources to get known over in the UK, no matter where you're listening in from. My name again is Clinton Young, international keynote speaker and coach for aspiring world-class speakers. Make sure you join the Speaker Posse at speakerposse.com. And I look forward to seeing you on a future show. And until then, remember to think big, say yes, and take action. Bye for now.